When you ask what global warming is, you say how property damage is getting. I'm going to say, well, how
BBC School Report.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the BBC School at Queen Elizabeth School in Barnet. I'm Sorrel.
And I'm Keenan. Our main stories today are:
how is global warming affecting natural disasters in the world today, especially in the UK?
with the centenary of World War I this year, we look at how QE contributed to both World War I and World War II.
We talk about the new immigration laws in the UK after the fiery debate between UK Premier and Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg.
But first, we have all heard of the tragic accident that happened in Malaysia on flight MH370. And we're going to look at how technology was used to find the aeroplane and to communicate with the victims' families. We will now take you to Daniel, who will tell you more.
Thank you, Keenan. Over the past 24 hours, possible wreckage from missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 has been found in satellite images of the southern Indian Ocean and has been referred to as the most credible lead we have by Malaysian Defence Minister.
Is sending advanced underwater drones into the current search area in the southern Indian Ocean as part of the international search effort for what some are referring to as the biggest aviation mystery of the 21st century. Daniel Alexander, Queen Elizabeth's Boys School, signing out.
Thank you, Daniel. Now, recently there has been severe flooding in many parts of the UK, and a few days ago, mudslides hit much of the USA, such as Washington, D.C. This has devastated many properties and families, and this is causing severe problems. Many people are missing. We'll go to Yusuf, live in Barnet, who will tell us more on how global warming is affecting pollution and natural disasters that go on today.
Yes, thank you, Keenan. Yes, here I am today in Barnet, and it's a lovely day, as you can see. But it hasn't been like this all year. Because today I'm here to investigate the UK flooding, which happened a few months ago, and many areas are still affected by the masses of water that devastated many families, especially in coastal areas and floodplain areas of rivers. There are many serious events affecting the government, which the expensive River Thames barrier in danger of being ineffective. And here we have Aravinda with his story about what happened to him. So, what happened?
So when the flood warnings got issued out, we had a amber one, which is quite serious. So we had to move out for a bit to a shelter, and when we got back, pretty much everything in our house downstairs was ruined. And we're still in the process of, replacing stuff. Don't know how much it's going to cost.
So why do you think that this is happening?
Well, global warming. You see, it's making our weather patterns go not normal. So, like yesterday, it snowed, for example, and it's April.
So do you know what global warming is?
So, I think so. It's it's a gradual warming of the world because of carbon dioxide and things.
So here I'm reporting in lovely day in Barnet, back to the studio.
Very interesting.
July the 1st this year marks 100 years since the First World War.
Yes, many people died and many are injured. Daniel tells us more on how we have remembered the war. We also had a chance to interact with a very special person.
This June, the whole world will be in remembrance of an unforgettable war that started 100 years ago, World War I. Some unforgettable and devastating events occurred in this war, such as Somme and Verdun. As well as World War I, World War II was also a tragic war. But what was QE's contribution to the war? Well, many former pupils and teachers have given up their lives and been honoured for their work on both wars. Most notably, Alistair McCready Dermot, who received the Victoria Cross for his dedication in World War I. A surviving soldier of World War II, Rex Winky Wingfield was a Latin teacher in the 50s and early 60s and often boasted of his several bullet wounds on his stomach. He passed away late July last year, but left behind a memoir of his experience in the infantry called The Only Way Out.
Simultaneous with the last round of the Bren burst, I felt a searing pain start at my left hip, flash across and numb my right thigh. There was a shout to my left, and the dull burst of a .36 grenade. Then I knew. Christ, I've been hit! I panicked. I'd been hit internally, so I should be bleeding from the mouth. I coughed into my hand. It was dry. Thank God. I felt better.
Huey have been known for their remembrance and respect for those who have taken part in the war, with each year a prize awarded to a boy who serves the school selflessly, and the remembrance of victims during Founders Day. Boys take part in after-school activities such as the Combined Cadet Force and trips to museums such as the Imperial War Museum in Darksville. We also got the chance to meet the Holocaust survivor, Marla Trubich.
Hello, Mrs. Trebek. My name is Daniel. I'll be asking you a few questions about your past experiences. We represent Queen Elizabeth's Boys' School, which is this school here, and we'd just like to thank you for coming in and speaking to us about your past experiences. I know the Holocaust is a very serious subject, but it's very nice of you to come in and inform us about it. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, like where you came from and the start of your life and before the war and things?
Well, I come from a place called Piotrków, Trybunalski, which is in Poland, sort of in between Warsaw and the German border, that sort of position. And before the war, I lived a sort of pre-war life of that. The life of that period, I went to school, I had friends, I had relatives, cousins, I had two siblings, a younger sister and an older brother. And life was very pleasant, surrounded by a loving family, Jewish, and we observed a lot of the Jewish festivals, which are very nice because apart from the synagogue, at home they take place around the dinner table, and there was nice conversations. Just a pleasant pre-war life, really.
Coming up to the war, when the Nazi Party came into power, being a Jew, did you fear that anything may happen? I personally wasn't so fully aware of it. I knew that there was something happening because there was a tension that I could feel, and I know that there were some people that came from Germany, and I wondered why. I didn't really know about the persecution of Jews in Germany, and I didn't know the political situation. I was just slightly aware of it, things I picked up on the sidelines. I didn't really study it or read about it or anything. After the German occupation of Poland, and as the anti-Semitism began, what were your experiences at this time?
When it started, well, it started with bombings, so we had some casualties. I remember taking shelter in a sort of semi-basement where I lived in a block of flats. And then once the Germans were in, it was already quite fearful at the beginning, and they sort of sometimes knocked on the door to come in and help themselves to things already. But ultimately, very short time after occupation, we had a ghetto in our town. We were the first town in Poland to have a ghetto, and that was in October 1939. So we were all herded into a very small part of town, and conditions were really bad in the ghetto.
I understand you were taken to a concentration camp by being deported from the ghetto. What was this like for you?
Well, from the ghetto we were actually taken to a labour camp, which was still in Poland but outside Piotrków in the surrounding area. And we worked there as slave laborers. But from there we were deported to Ravensbrück concentration camp. And then from Ravensbrück to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp.
As the war came to an end, did you know it was coming to an end?
No, I didn't. I think that perhaps some people, because in Bergen-Belsen things started really breaking down, though the Germans seemed to be leaving because there weren't many guards around, but there was also no food. They were breaking down, but I didn't know that it was anything to do with the end of the war. Because I was ill as well, of course.
What happened after the war? Where did you go and what kind of things did you do?
Well, I was in a way lucky to be sent to Sweden after the war, 4 months after the war, in July 1945. And in Sweden, the Swedes were wonderful to us, and we lived in what you could compare to a boarding school, but we were all survivors there. And we had lessons and we had spare times, and we were teenagers. I was 14 by then. And we lived a very pleasant life, but of course we didn't know who had survived. I knew that I had lost my mother and sister, but I didn't know what happened to my father and brother. Luckily my brother survived. But I was in Sweden for nearly 2 years.
What was your attitude towards the Nazi party during the war and then afterwards?
Well, during the war, I didn't have many thoughts about them. I knew that we were occupied and that we were being treated abominably, that we were being killed and hunted and pursued and starved and just every type of disadvantage one could imagine. But that was, once war started, and we just sort of somehow tried to live through it.
As the years went on after the war, did you learn to live with the horrific experiences you went through, or do you have some sort of survivor's guilt?
I do have survivor's guilt. I don't know, I don't call it that because I don't know why I have a sort of guilt complex. And I suppose one could put it down to that. I can't see any other reason, but I do feel guilty about many things, not about the war, because I wasn't in any position to do anything about that. There was nothing that was in my hands, but I just tend to feel guilty if I do something I think I shouldn't have, and so you could say yes, I do suffer from it.
Okay, a big thank you to Mina, who's come in and talked to us. Daniel Alexander reporting for BBC News.
Thank you for a very interesting and unique talk about the history of World War I. Now moving on, our other stories today. Is it really too expensive to go to the cinema?
And we look at the changes in GCSE and how it affects our students.
Going to watch a film at the cinemas has become ridiculously expensive, and it used to be a cheap way to have good entertainment, but now it's getting too much. So we ask, is it really too much?
Welcome to the BBC School Report. Is it becoming too expensive to go to the cinema? Find out now in our special feature article. We now go to Chief Correspondent for the Media, Zain.
Thank you, Abby. Today I'm here with Mr. Smith from the British Cinema Association. Now, Mr. Smith, what do you think about the sudden increase in cinema ticket prices?
Well, I wouldn't say it's so much a sudden increase in cinema ticket prices. As you see, since the 1980s, technology has moved on incredibly. So we have whole new experiences like 3D, CGI, and the cinema chains that I represent are investing heavily in these technologies, which do cost quite a bit of money.
Now, what do you see for the future for the cinema ticket price?
Well, in terms of the future, I don't see a vast increase in the type of ticket prices that we're seeing now. But obviously we want to make the whole experience for the family a great one and a great day out.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, here to our next correspondent, Veer.
Okay, thank you, Zane. Here we have Mr. James. Mr. James, how do you feel about the rising cinema prices?
Well, of course I'm outraged. Obviously, as a concerned local citizen, I think it's important that the public have access to their culture, access to see the latest films whenever they want to, and I think these inflated prices mean that right's being taken away from them, so I'm very concerned.
Okay, thank you. Head back to the studio.
Thank you to both of our correspondents for this very useful pieces of information. It has now become evidently clear that going to the cinema has become, as of lately, especially, a thing of the past, with tickets for films becoming increasingly expensive as the days go by. Now, your opinion is very important to us at our BBC School Report and our QE, so we encourage you to tweet us using the hashtag shown at the end of the report, along with our Twitter account being shown at the end of the report as well.
As we all know very well, GCSEs are a very important part of our school career. But with all the changes going on, we try to make sense of what really is happening on with our GCSEs.
Good morning and welcome to today's feature special on GCSEs. This will be affecting many people today and in their future years. With some of the largest changes in the education system today, the Secretary of State for Education, Michael Gove, has big plans. This year and future years will be a big change for both pupils and parents. We would like to start with the new changes and the events that will be taking place in order for these changes to happen.
Here I am in Barnet. This is QE Boys School, and it's a very high achieving one, grammar, and it's selective. And here's Mr. Mayor, whose nephew attends the school, and I'd like to ask him a few questions. What are your views on the GCSE funding being lowered for the high achieving schools?
Yeah, I think it's really unfair that the higher achieving schools are getting lower funds and less facilities than their lower achieving schools, because they're working a lot harder, they're getting better grades, it's more well deserved for them. I think that it's unfair that we're giving it to the people who aren't really doing much to help the economy get good grades, get good jobs, etc.
But do you not think that the low achieving pupils should be helped to be smarter, achieve better?
I agree that we should help them as much as we can to get good grades, but I think that at the same time we should be giving as much as we can to the people who are actually doing well to do better than they can, because we can only help the lower achieving to an extent, whereas if we push people who already have a good potential, we might be able to get better results from them.
Okay then, thank you for your views. This is Aravind reporting from QE Boys School, Barnet. Back to the studio.
Changes haven't just affected children, they've also affected parents too. Many controversial claims have been made over the change of funding towards lower ability schools. Here is Yusuf talking to some parents from both lower ability schools and highly academic schools.
GCSE changes that will take place soon.
No, I haven't.
So what Michael Gove is doing is he's changing the funding, so from higher ability schools, and he's channeling all the funding down to lower ability schools, so the higher ability schools won't get as much money as they will be getting. So what do you think? How will this affect your GCSEs?
I think it will affect my GCSE options a lot, because what's going to happen is that the schools are going to focus and concentrate the funding to the core subjects such as maths, English and science. So the humanities and the subjects like art and science will suffer. So this may make some subjects seem less enticing.
So do you think that it's fair that higher ability schools are getting less funding than they used to?
Not really, because these people who are in the higher ability schools got there based on their merit, so they should be the ones pushed further, and they're there because of their excellence in the career.
So this is is a very prolonged debate on Michael Gove's educational changes. However, today we've given our perspective on what's been happening.
Immigration rules have been lifted to allow more Eastern European migrants into the UK. The story has sparked controversy amongst many members of the UK, and people are worried that these migrants are going to make use of the UK welfare system. So now let's look more into this story.
I'm now here with the people called Rahul, just to get the next generation's view on this issue. So Rahul, how do you think that the recent influx of immigration is going to affect your life?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, the recent economic downturn and the recession, and I'm just a little bit afraid that when I leave school, there might not be enough jobs for me and people of our generation, because these immigrants, they might come in and they might take our jobs. You've also got other problems like they might abuse the welfare state system, and with the economy not being as good as it could be, it doesn't really need this extra burden of extra people coming in and abusing the economy and the welfare state system.
But many MPs say that immigrants, especially from Eastern Europe, and many students, they help grow our economy and add new skills to our growing market.
Well, it is very much adding new skills, but you've only got a certain number of jobs available in this country, and I think if you live here and you were born here, and I think it's not fair that if some people come over and they take those jobs, which I don't think is fair.
The data behind me just clearly shows how much more immigrants have been coming to the UK, and from this report we have looked at the new generation and a member of the public see their view. Some people think that we need immigrants to keep the UK's market growing, but many other people are worried that these immigrants are going to take their jobs when they leave school, and especially in a very competitive market. Is this something that Britain can afford to do, to keep on leaving its younger generation to be left unemployed and for them to go to the welfare state rather than have immigrants going to the welfare system instead? So from this we can see that there are many pros and cons to immigrants coming to the UK, whether it be from Eastern Europe or from all around the world. But whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you. Now let's go back to the BBC School Board studio.
And now we go outside to our live weather reports.
Today, the weather will be varied across the country with different temperatures. As a cloudy day to most of the cities, the temperatures will be in a range of 3 to 9 degrees. In London, there will be showers in the eastern part with clear spells elsewhere. Tonight, however, there will be light showers and overall it will be slightly windy. For the rest of the week, there will be sunny spells in England and it will be dry and bright in the north.
And that's the kind of day it's been at QE Boys.
Thanks for watching. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him.